I'm 42 years old. I've been married for 12 years. 2 kids. A mortgage. A dog that sheds everywhere. A life that, until a couple of years ago, felt boring in the best possible way. Not exciting. Not perfect. But stable. I used to think stability meant safety. My wife, Claire, and I met in our late 20s. We were never one of those whirlwind romance couples. We grew slowly. Quietly. Movie nights, grocery shopping together, arguments about money, making up, building something brick by brick. She was my best friend. I worked long hours. Always have. Construction management. Early mornings, late afternoons, sometimes weekends. Claire stayed home when our second child was born, then did freelance graphic work from home. Our neighborhood was friendly in that polite suburban way. People waved. Sometimes borrowed tools. Sometimes helped shovel snow. 3 houses down lived Mark. Late 30s. Divorced. Handy guy. Always fixing something. He introduced himself the first week we moved in, offered his ladder if we ever needed it. At first, he was just there. If a light flickered, Mark knew how to fix it. If a gutter leaked, Mark had tools. If trash day came and I was already gone, sometimes Claire mentioned, Mark took the bin to the curb. I thought nothing of it. Why would I? I trusted my wife completely. I trusted the normalcy of my life. I trusted that the worst problems I'd ever face would be things like car repairs and arguing about school districts. I had no idea that the person slowly dismantling my marriage wasn't a stranger. He was a neighbor who just helped around the house. Looking back, I hate myself for how reasonable everything sounded. Mark tightened the loose outlet. Mark noticed the fence leaning. Mark carried in the heavy package since you weren't home yet. Claire always framed it casually. Almost like an afterthought. She'd say his name the same way she'd say, the mailman. Or, the Amazon driver. Background noise. I even thanked him a few times. That part makes me physically nauseous now. Mark never came across as creepy. He didn't flirt in front of me. He didn't linger too long when I was home. He mostly spoke to me about practical things. Your wife said the sink was dripping. Thought I'd tighten that loose hinge. It felt neighborly. I grew up believing community meant looking out for each other. I didn't grow up believing community meant sleeping with each other's spouses. There were small shifts I noticed but explained away. Claire started dressing nicer even on days she stayed home. She began showering more often, sometimes midday. She seemed lighter. Happier, maybe? I told myself it was good. That she was in a better headspace. That maybe the kids being older gave her more freedom. I was proud of her. That's the cruel part. I was proud. Meanwhile, I was exhausted. I came home dirty and sore most nights. I'd kiss her, hug the kids, eat dinner, zone out in front of the TV. She'd scroll on her phone. Sometimes she'd smile at something. I never asked what. I never wanted to be the paranoid husband. I wanted to be the secure one. The first real crack came in a stupid, insignificant way. One evening I got home early. Rare. Traffic miracle. Mark's truck was in our driveway. Not the street. Not his place. Ours. I felt a brief flicker of irritation. Why didn't Claire mention he was coming over? When I walked inside, I heard voices from the laundry room. Claire and Mark. Laughing. Not big laughter. Quiet laughter. The kind people use when they're sharing something private. They both jumped when they saw me. Claire said too quickly, "Mark was just fixing the dryer vent. It's been clogged." Mark nodded. "Yeah, lint buildup. Fire hazard." Perfectly logical. Except, the dryer wasn't running. No tools were out. No lint on the floor. Still, I nodded back. "Thanks, man." He left within 2 minutes. Claire avoided my eyes for the rest of the evening. I told myself I was reading too much into it. But that night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying their faces. The way their laughter died instantly. The way Claire's cheeks were flushed. I almost asked her. Almost. Instead, I swallowed it. Because marriage is built on trust. Because I didn't want to become suspicious over nothing. Because I was terrified of what I might hear. Sometimes I think we ignore red flags not because we don't see them, but because we're not ready for the truth they're pointing to. After that, I started noticing more. Mark's truck in our driveway more often. Claire texting and turning her phone face down. Her taking longer walks in the afternoon. Her suddenly caring about shaving, makeup, perfume again. I tried to tell myself she was rediscovering herself. That not everything revolves around me. That I was being insecure. One night I finally asked, casually, "Mark's been over a lot lately, huh?" She stiffened. "Not really." That alone told me everything. Because when something isn't a big deal, people don't get defensive. "He just helps with stuff," she added. "You're always working." There was a slight edge to her voice. Like she was annoyed I even noticed. That hurt more than I expected. I started wondering if I'd failed somehow. Was I gone too much? Was I boring? Was I neglectful? I replayed our entire marriage in my head like surveillance footage. Every fight. Every missed date night. Every time I chose overtime instead of staying home. I didn't confront. I didn't snoop. I didn't accuse. I became quieter. Observant. Waiting. Which, in hindsight, might have been the worst possible choice. Because while I was gathering courage, they were gathering memories. The turning point wasn't dramatic. No lipstick on collars. No walking in on anything. It was a notification. Claire left her phone on the kitchen counter while she took a shower. It buzzed. I wasn't trying to spy. I swear I wasn't. I just glanced. "Can't stop thinking about earlier." From Mark. No emojis. No explicit words. Just that. My heart started pounding so hard I thought I might throw up. I stared at the screen like it might explain itself. Like another message would pop up saying, "About the fence." Nothing did. I picked up the phone. I didn't unlock it. I didn't need to. The lock screen preview showed enough. "Miss you already? Wish you could come over tonight." I put the phone back exactly where it was. My hands were shaking. I sat at the table and stared at the wall. My brain kept trying to rationalize. Maybe he was talking about a project. Maybe they were having an emotional affair. Maybe I was misinterpreting. But deep down, I knew. When Claire came out of the shower, I couldn't even look at her. She smiled and asked what I wanted for dinner. I almost laughed at the absurdity. Instead, I said nothing. That night, I slept maybe 20 minutes. I kept imagining them together. In my house. On my couch. In my bed. I don't think I've ever felt that level of helplessness before. The next day, I left work early. I didn't tell Claire. I parked down the street. I sat in my car like a pathetic private investigator in a low-budget movie. Part of me prayed I was wrong. That nothing would happen. That I'd feel stupid for ever doubting her. At 1:37 p.m., Mark's truck pulled into my driveway. My vision went narrow. I waited 10 minutes. Then I walked to my front door. I didn't plan what I'd say. I didn't plan anything. I just walked in. The house was quiet. Too quiet. I heard something upstairs. Soft. A laugh. Claire's laugh. I climbed the stairs slowly. Every step felt like it weighed 100 pounds. Our bedroom door was closed. I opened it. They weren't fully undressed, which somehow made it worse. Claire was sitting on the edge of the bed. Mark standing between her knees. His hands on her waist. Her hands on his chest. They froze. Claire whispered my name. Mark said, "Oh shit." That was it. No dramatic screaming. No throwing punches. I just stood there. My brain couldn't process what my eyes were seeing. It felt like I was watching someone else's life collapse. Not mine. Not yet. I don't remember what I said first. I remember Claire crying almost immediately. "I'm sorry." Over and over. Mark kept backing toward the door, saying, "I'll go. I'll go." Like he was worried about his own safety. I didn't touch him. I didn't yell. I think I was in shock. I asked Claire one question. "How long?" She hesitated. That hesitation destroyed something inside me. 3 months. 3 months. 3 months of lies. 3 months of smiling at me. 3 months of sleeping next to me. 3 months of introducing our kids to the man who was fucking their mother. I sat on the bed. I felt dizzy. I asked, "In this house?" She nodded. I asked, "When I'm at work?" She nodded again. I asked, "How many times?" She said, "I don't know." That answer hurt worse than any number. Mark had left by then. Claire tried to touch my arm. I pulled away like she was on fire. She kept saying it just happened. That it started as talking. That she felt lonely. That she never meant for it to go this far. All I heard was noise. Excuses layered on top of betrayal. Anger came later. At first, I just felt hollow. Like someone scooped out everything inside me. I went to the garage and sat on the floor. I don't know how long I stayed there. Claire followed eventually. She kept apologizing. She kept saying she loved me. That word felt meaningless. Love doesn't look like sneaking around. Love doesn't look like inviting another man into your bed. I asked her if she planned to leave me. She said no. I asked if she loved him. She said no. I asked if she'd stop seeing him. She said yes. All of her answers came too quickly. Like she'd rehearsed them. I told her I wanted Mark gone from our lives. She said she'd block him. Delete him. Never speak to him again. I didn't believe a word. That night, I slept in the guest room. I stared at the ceiling and wondered how I became the guy whose wife cheats with the neighbor. I felt embarrassed. Humiliated. Like everyone must somehow know. I imagined Mark laughing about me. I imagined Claire comparing us. I imagined details I never wanted. I wanted to crawl out of my own skin. I seriously thought about driving somewhere and just not coming back. Not dying. Just disappearing. The next week was hell. We still had to function for the kids. Breakfast. School. Homework. Soccer practice. Pretending everything was fine while my insides were rotting. Claire tried to act extra nice. Cooking my favorite meals. Leaving little notes. Texting me during the day. "I love you. I'm so sorry." It felt manipulative. Like she was trying to patch a shattered vase with tape. I started asking questions. Details. When did it start? Who initiated? Where else did they do it? Every answer felt like a knife. She said Mark flirted first. She said she liked the attention. She said she felt invisible. I asked why she didn't talk to me. She said she tried. I don't remember her trying. Maybe I missed it. That thought eats at me. But even if I miss signals, cheating is still a choice. Hundreds of choices. She admitted they had sex at least 20 times. At least. Sometimes in our bed. Sometimes on the couch. Sometimes in Mark's house. She admitted our kids were sometimes playing downstairs. That detail made me physically gag. Something inside me broke permanently when I heard that. I don't think I've fully processed it. I don't know if I ever will. We tried counseling. I don't know why. Hope? Fear of being alone? Fear of blowing up my kids' lives? The therapist talked about rebuilding trust. About transparency. About accountability. Claire cried a lot. She took responsibility. She said all the right words. I nodded. I said very little. Because I didn't know how to explain that trust felt like a foreign concept now. That I didn't just lose faith in her. I lost faith in my own judgment. How could I be so blind? How could I live next to the man destroying my marriage and thank him for fixing my outlet? I started checking Claire's phone. Her location. Her browser history. I hated myself for it. I hated what I was becoming. Suspicious. Paranoid. Obsessive. But I couldn't stop. Mark eventually moved. I don't know if it was coincidence or shame or pressure. Seeing the empty house across the street should have made me feel better. It didn't. Because the damage had already been done. The ghost of him still lived in my head. In my bedroom. In my marriage. Claire wants reconciliation. She says she'll spend the rest of her life making it up to me. Some days I almost believe her. Other days I look at her and feel nothing. No love. No hatred. Just emptiness. We still live together. We still parent together. We sometimes have sex. But it feels mechanical. Like going through motions from a previous life. I don't see her the same way. I don't see marriage the same way. I don't even see myself the same way. I feel older. Heavier. Not physically. Inside. I think about leaving a lot. But then I imagine weekends without my kids. Holidays split. Birthdays negotiated. And I freeze. So I stay. Which feels like a different kind of prison. I don't know if staying is strength or cowardice. Maybe both. Claire says she understands if I never fully forgive her. That sentence alone tells me she knows what she destroyed. You can't glue shattered glass back into something safe. Even if it looks whole. It will always cut you when you touch it wrong. Some nights, I lie awake and replay everything. The laughs I ignored. The truck in the driveway. The texts I didn't see. I torture myself with alternate timelines. If I'd come home early more. If I'd paid more attention. If I'd been more affectionate. If I'd said no to overtime. If I'd been better. I know, logically, her choices are her responsibility. But emotionally? It feels shared. Like I failed an unspoken test. I don't talk to anyone about this. Not my friends. Not my family. The shame feels too heavy. They all think we're a normal couple with normal problems. Sometimes Claire posts pictures of us smiling. People comment heart emojis. Relationship goals. I want to scream. I wonder if Mark ever thinks about what he did. If he feels guilt. If he tells his own version where he's not the villain. I hate that he still occupies space in my head. I hate that Claire's body still feels familiar but her soul feels distant. I hate that I'm trapped between wanting my old life back and knowing it never truly existed. The hardest part isn't the sex. It's not even the lies. It's the rewriting of my memories. I look back at vacations and wonder if she was already texting him. I look at old photos and wonder if she was already drifting. It feels like someone edited my past without my permission. There are days when Claire seems genuinely remorseful. She cries. She apologizes. She tries. Then there are days when she gets frustrated. When she says, "It's been a year. Are you ever going to move on?" Those days scare me. Because they tell me she doesn't truly understand what she did. You don't put a timeline on someone else's trauma. Sometimes I fantasize about starting over. New city. Small apartment. Just me and the kids. Quiet. Simple. Other times I imagine growing old with Claire anyway. Two people bound together by history more than happiness. Neither fantasy feels good. They just feel different flavors of loss. I don't know what the right choice is. I don't know if there is one. Maybe some damage just doesn't come with solutions. Only adaptations? If you're reading this and you suspect something, don't ignore it. I know denial feels safer. I know confronting feels terrifying. But living in a lie is worse. I wish I had trusted my instincts earlier. I wish I had asked harder questions. I wish I hadn't been so afraid of conflict. I also wish I understood that being a good provider isn't the same as being emotionally present. I'm not excusing what Claire did, but I'm acknowledging I wasn't perfect. Two things can be true. People love simple narratives. Good guy. Bad guy. Reality is messy. People make selfish choices. People get hurt. People carry damage forward. I don't know if I'll stay married. I don't know if I'll leave. I don't know who I'll be 5 years from now. All I know is that I'm not the person I was before. And I don't think I'll ever be again. I miss the version of me who trusted easily. Who believed in permanence. Who thought love, once built, stayed solid. That version of me is gone. Sometimes I mourn him more than I mourn my marriage. Claire is in the other room as I type this. She thinks I'm reading the news. She has no idea I'm spilling the ugliest chapter of our lives to strangers. Maybe that's fitting. Our marriage now feels like a performance. We look intact. We function. But underneath, everything is cracked. If I could go back, I don't know what I'd change. Maybe I'd work less. Maybe I'd listen more. Maybe I'd still end up here anyway. That thought terrifies me. I don't hate Claire. I don't fully forgive her. I exist somewhere in between. A numb, exhausted middle. If you're expecting a clean ending, I don't have one. Just a man still waking up every day, putting on clothes, going to work, loving his kids, and carrying a betrayal he didn't ask for. Maybe that's life. Or maybe it's just the part no one likes to talk about. Either way, thanks for listening.